Hello, lovely people out there, and welcome to your daily focus tarot for Thursday. What we have today and what you should focus on: the Ten of Wands. This is about burden. You'll notice that he's had a long road to go. He's going away from the sunrise. It's almost like he's got a backache, the way that he's walking, because he's carrying this burden, but this burden he doesn't necessarily need to carry. It's not all his. Okay, so you're carrying other people's burdens as well as your own, and you can drop them at any time. For clarifiers, we have the Eight of Cups, the Moon, the unconscious, the emotional, the symbol of the spiritual, and the mountains, the earth going towards the sky, which is the spiritual. The cups about healing, creativity, flowing through life rather than being a rock. Okay, so he's got one wand instead of 10. You might be carrying a bunch of other people's issues, or other people's lack of boundaries towards you, and your inability to set boundaries towards them is affecting you. So this can be a card about daydreaming. You could be escaping your burdens here through daydreaming or through trying to spiritually connect. Another clarifier for the Ten of Wands was the Three of Wands. And this is a card that talks about strategy, planning. It's looking for a new path. So it's talking about pathfinding, and this ties in with your dreaming. Now the path on all of these cards, he's just starting up the mountain. Here, he's sitting on the mountain. Here, he's overlooking a part of the mountain where there's a river. Now, the odd thing is, I drew the Druid Craft Tarot cards first, and I drew 3 cards. They came out, they flipped, or they fell on the floor for me. And so we had the Three of Wands already. So it's interesting that the Three of Wands is a clarifier for the Ten of Wands, because I wasn't asking. I was asking for the clarifier with this deck, with the Ethereal Visions, not the Druid Craft. So it's kind of interesting that we have Three of Wands twice. So yeah, that's kind of what this card is about, and I got the feeling that you are trying to escape your burdens by daydreaming about this strategy, this plan for expansion. You definitely want to drop some of those wands that you're carrying, some of those spiritual burdens. You want to have this healing and this expansion, this strategy that you're coming up with to do this is part of that healing. So as a clarifier for this Three of Wands from the Druid Craft, the High Priestess fell out sideways. So the High Priestess is definitely spirituality, knowledge, understanding. With it being sideways, you're working on it, but you're not quite there yet. At least you're not in reverse. You're not going backwards. You are headed towards this knowledge and gaining it. You're headed towards this breakthrough. And then I asked for another clarifier, and I had 2 cards come out. The Moon. Very interesting, because in the Eight of Cups, he's looking at the moon. So like I said, it's about it can be about daydreaming, It can be about your intuition, your feelings, your unconsciousness. She's kind of floating on a cloud in a very starry sky, so she's high up in the sky. Or she's in an area where there's, obviously no smog, no air pollution, no light pollution, because you can see the stars. And she's got this beautiful golden tree supporting the crescent moon here. We also had the Two of Swords. See if I can get that to focus. Now, this card, you could be at a stalemate with this planning, with this strategy. You could be weighing your options. She's got the crescent moon here. And in this deck, these little sort of Moorish symbols, they always remind me of where you put the key in the lock. They always remind me of the lock. So a lot of this deck for me, when I see these gold decorations, remind me of trying to open a door, trying to find the path. And this is certainly a card about finding the path. She's got the water behind her, and she's sitting down in front of it. But she's almost, she's almost going to behead herself by trying to, and she's blinded herself by trying to figure out, and I'm saying she's doing it because there's nobody else in the image. And a lot of interpretations of this card say that, you are doing it yourself. You're at indecision, you're at crossroads, and you're trying to decide, but you're struggling with that decision. And people did used to sometimes behead themselves with swords, in this manner. So what's happening here is you're not having clarity. With the moon, you're not having clarity. With this daydreaming, you're not having clarity on how to move forward. You're still struggling with how to drop these burdens and how to go about this expansion. And you need to focus on that struggle and how to gain clarity for it. Now, the third card we had that I originally drew was the Three of Swords. The Druid crafts does it differently. The swords aren't piercing the heart, and they're not piercing the tree of life, the tree of knowledge either. The holes in this book, which the swords obviously didn't create, the holes are talking about the trifecta, the maiden, the mother, the crone. They're talking about phases of life, phases of spirituality that you're going through. This card, most people read it as heartbreak, because in other decks the swords are stabbing the heart. But it can also be read as deception and rejection. So this could be self-deception with the moon and the Two of Swords. I also find it interesting that you've got like a lot of threes. For clarifiers, we have the King of Pentacles. And this is talking about, leadership. It's talking about material things, because it's talking about pentacles. So it's talking about, your job, your career, your finances, your monetized hobbies, anything of that sort. And he's got these grapes. He's got the symbol of luxury, grapes and wines. He's got a small staff and the ram's head, the determination and the strength Not sure what kind of leaf this is. But this is definitely talking about some sort of deception, either self-deception or some sort of rejection in your material world. And the other clarifiers we got, again, 10 of Wands. This was very weird, but it fell out. So these are two different 10 of Wands. They both have a path that they're following. This one is not yet to the mountains, but he's getting there, and he's got a bag holding the wands. So this rejection, this deception, it's a little bit contained. It's a little bit more like you're keeping it to yourself. You're not letting other people see it. And the wands, they are talking about spirituality. They're talking about, your conscious, your unconscious, the core of who you are. It's talking about wanting to take action. So you're wanting to get rid of this deception, this rejection. The 10 of Wands, it came out with the 10 of Pentacles, which is about loyalty. It's about family. It's about friendships. It's about having everything you could possibly want in the material world. All these, golden coins with stars, all the grapevines up here. They're living, the life of royalty and very comfortable. The father is passing that on to the son, or we assume it's a father and son. And he is dressed in a yellowish orange, the color of the sun. So in order to get this 10 of Pentacles, you've got to figure out how to release the 10 of Wands to become the King of Pentacles. And that's what this rejection and this disillusionment is about. At the bottom of the Druid craft deck, we have the World. The World is about accomplishment or completion. It's about having all that you need. It's about a cycle. She's standing on top of the world with the world tree, with the world serpent, the knowledge. She has all of these. She has her, her spiritual and her emotional, her unconscious imbalance. She has her physical and her mental imbalance. I mean. Maybe you need to work on an imbalance in those two areas of your life. Could have been a Freudian slip. So this is about applying what you've learned, so you can be on top of the world, so you can have that sun shining on you. And she had 2 wands. Yeah, she has 2 wands in each hand, if you'll notice. At the bottom of the Ethereal Visions deck, we had the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands is talking about resilience and hope. Like, you're in training, you're learning, you're a little bit defensive, but look at those muscles he's got. Look at the way that he's standing. It's defensive, but it's confident and secure. So you're getting there. Hopefully this is helpful on what you should focus on today. And I'll see you tomorrow.